Are you wanting to get deeper into your bar first position plies? Or maybe you're just trying to figure out how to get your knees to stop hurting in that position. If so, this bar hack first position plie video is for you. So let's do some learning. So in a bar first position, we're supposed to be able to come into that position with a neutral stack. Ears in line with shoulders, shoulders in line with ears. Got that good natural pelvis, good neutral pelvis. And our legs start in internal rotation. And then we step our legs out, externally rotating the thighs, bringing it together. That pelvis opens up like a flower to help keep that neutral stack. From here, we start with our arches collapsed. And as we come down into that plie, our knees come to our third and fourth toe. And then pushing down into those arches, we come back up. So coming down, lifting those arches, coming up, collapsing. And that is our first position plie. Now, we can also, of course, do this on our toes, where we still have that opening, and then we can come down a bit deeper, usually with our toes lifted and coming out, but our feet are doing basically the same things, but just with the heels off the ground, so it doesn't have that reference point. Now, there's a lot of things that are going on in that, though, that with our natural compression in our body just leads us to where we start off with a compromised position. The first and most common one being that most people have some form of anterior pelvic tilt. So instead of having that neutral stack, they're an anterior pelvic tilt. And this leads to the duck butt, and where we can't get our shoulders stacked over our hips. This also makes it where our femurs are starting out externally rotated already, even when we have our feet facing forward. And because of that, that means they don't have actually a whole lot more external rotation to comfortably go into that position. And because of this, so when a lot of people, when they step out, what they're actually moving is the leg below the knee. So it's just the shin and the foot moving into external rotation to meet up to that already externally rotated femur. And this is a problem mainly because as our legs externally rotate, our shins need to be able to internally rotate to properly stack the knee. And when you have both externally rotating, you're getting a position where you can get kind of more like a bone on bone on the side of the knee, on one of the sides of the knee. And that ends up creating a lot of knee problems, and it also restricts your range of motion. So that is what our hacks are going to be addressing. We're going to be taking our pelvis out of that anterior pelvic tilt so that we have that neutral stack. It's also going to be addressing the rotation connection between our femur and our shin. And it's just going to be decompressing also our upper body so that we can get that nice ear, shoulder, hip alignment so that we have that nice, beautiful long line that we look for in our bar classes. So let's get started with our posture and breath hack. So the back of our pelvis can get really compressed and our tailbone can get stuck. So we're going to loosen that up to make sure we don't have any of that posterior compression affecting our ability for our turn to turn outward and for our pelvis to come back down into neutral. So to do this, you're going to need something to stand on. You can use a yoga block if it's not a too tall one. Like a 2-inch thick book works perfectly. I'm going to use the yoga block though. And we're going to start on the right side. So block underneath that right foot. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure you can get all 3 points of contact of your foot on whatever you're standing on. And then we're going to hinge back, and then we're going to shift our weight into the side. So kind of like you're going into a lateral lunge, and then you're going to keep shifting your booty to the side until you feel a bit of a bony stretch on the side of your glute. You can totally use your hands on your thigh to kind of help push that booty back, slightly turning your collarbone, towards that knee. Show you what that looks like from a side view. Hinging back, pressing back here. Now you don't want to dump into it too much. Like I said, you're trying to look for it right there in the side of the booty. And when you have it, you're just going to breathe in. Feel your shoulder blades separate. Exhale, send your rib cage down to the belt line. And we're just going to do that for 5 total breaths, so 3 more. Last round of breath, inhaling up, feeling that expansion. Exhale, really breathe out all your air, rib cage to belt line. And so we got that side, and now we're going to set up on the left side, which is the one that usually needs it a bit more. So setting up, hinging, shifting, pressing that booty, slight turn of the collarbone, really weighting into that heel. Breathe, inhale. Feel that back of your chest expand. Exhale, ribs to belt line. Really blow all that air out. Take as long as you need. 2 more breaths. 1 more. And we're done with our posture and breath hack. Now moving on to our strength hack, we're going to need a wall. So we're going to be coming down onto our backs. And then we're going to put our feet on the wall, making 90 degrees. So hips stacked, knees stacked over hips, making that line to the wall. And we're going to think about relaxing your pelvis down, trying to get that space that's right between your pelvis down onto the mat. Relaxing here. We're going to progressively build. We'll start by just pulling our heels down, just like a 2-3 effort, and see if you can get that engagement going where your hamstring meets your glute. From here, we're going to press firmly into our right foot, and then we're going to start bringing our knee towards our chest. Each inhale, see if you can bring it a little bit more. Bring that hip up. You can bring your right hand to that left knee, maybe kind of gently just kind of guide it. But really thinking about getting that hip extension in that leg. So you're thinking about straightening, flattening this part of your leg as this leg comes up. Really feeling that engagement, hamstrings to glute. You really should only be pushing into the wall like that 3 effort, and you're just going to feel that strength happening. And when you get to the top, you're going to hold it, and then you're going to very slowly, same, going the opposite direction. Bringing your hips back down, bringing your leg back to the wall. And release, going side to side. See if your pelvis is coming down and resting on the floor a little bit more, maybe already. And setting up again, pressing those feet into the wall, pulling it down to feel that hamstring engagement. This time, weight in that left foot. Inhale, right foot coming to the chest. Feeling that pelvis slightly tucking maybe. Inhale, keep going. Maybe helping that leg with that opposite arm by just not assisting it, just giving it a little bit of pressure to push back into. Bringing that hip up, getting that hip extension. And you're just going to keep going up. As far as you go, as you practice this move, you'll get further. But about here is about the in range of motion of this thing where you have that fully extended hip nice and close to your chest. And then exhaling, coming down. 1 vertebrae at a time. Nice firm pressure. And release. And so that is our strength hack to help engage all the muscles that we need to keep the pelvis where we want it to be, to stay in that first position. And now we'll move on to our mobility hack. Working on the rotation of our femur in relationship to our shin. So like I said, when your leg is going out externally, your shin should be turning internally a little bit, helping to keep that good alignment in your knee. Now, your lower part of your leg can often get stuck. So that's what our mobility drill is going to be addressing. We're going to be using our hands and a little bit of help to help that shin rotate properly while we're moving our femur. So we're just going to come up into a low lunge. You're going to get your heel down. You want to start with your knee back behind your foot, so you kind of have this negative shin angle. And then you're going to come forward, shift that hip back a little bit until you feel that engagement that we were playing with over there, hamstring to glute. Hands going to come at your shin. So you're going to think about collapsing, starting with a collapsed arch. We're going to be moving our knee towards our first and second toe while lifting our arch as we come forward. So lifting that arch, guiding your shin, trying to get that knee towards that first and second toe, and then firmly pressing into your ball of your big toe, outside edge of your heel, coming back, rotating the other way. First and second toe, pressing back, lifting that arch as you come forward, collapsing it as you come out. So if you feel like your shin and everything's going good and you're feeling things, we can progress this mobility drill by bringing our hands down, starting at that, straightening that leg, pulling that hip back, getting that engagement kind of like a half monkey, and then pressing through, collapsing that arch, lifting that arch, first and second toe. Coming back, shifting that hip back, compressing that arch down, lifting that arch, coming forward. So you can get more out of this as you pull your hip back, if you use your hand to kind of guide your foot to get that arch lifted, pulling back until you feel that engagement between your glute and your hamstring, and then bringing it forward, maybe even assist that arch. And that is our mobility drill for this side. So we'll go through it on the other side, but that's the exercise. So coming forward, knee behind that ankle, using your hand first around the shin. It can help with pants. You can also do like an exercise band around to help grip if it's not moving. So collapsing that arch down, coming forward, lifting that arch, bringing that knee first and second toe, then collapsing that arch, rotating it to the outside. Rotating it in, first and second toe, out, lifting that, collapsing that arch. Lifting arch, collapsing arch. And continuing there, or going to our progression, bringing our hands down, pulling that hip back till you feel that engagement, kind of turning towards that leg. And we're going to use our hand to help collapse that arch. And then coming forward, letting the arch lift, coming through that lunge, collapsing down. Helping that arch lift as you come forward, holding the foot, pressing it down as you come back. Just do that a couple more times, and then we'll shake it out. Coming to standing, check your feet, going through some good form cues as we go into this position. So shoulders over hips, ears over shoulders. Unlock that knee, pull your arms out, separate your shoulder blades, and then stepping your feet out, rotating the thighs, zipping your thighs together, collapsing those feet down. From here, going out, lifting those arches, third and fourth toe as you come down, collapsing those arches as you come up. And there you have it, bar first position plie. So I hope this helps. Feel free to check out my other bar hack videos. My yoga hack videos are also really good for bar. And I hope that helped, and I hope to see you in another video.